Hey, my name is Koban Wanko, and you can just call me Koban. Today we're going to be going over the Love-Struck Knight Ollie model, and a few of her key features that might be a little bit more difficult to find for people who have never animated before, or just typically explaining some of her other features to streamline your animation experience. To start off, I'd like to go into her face controller here. It's basically her main controller for a lot of her shape keys and other items. I wanted to put it in all in the same place. So we're gonna go from edit, object mode, pose mode, and from here you can just click on the eyes and hit G to move them. It's all relatively simple. The slowdown, and please forgive the slowdown in my viewport. She's a bit of a heavier model. You can hit S to scale down the pupils themselves. These are the special eyes. So we've got the XD eye face. We've got the starry eyes. The starry eyes will also track to the eyes themselves. They don't copy the scaling because I figured, if people wanted to do this effect, they could. We've got these two right here, which control the winking. So you can wink each eye individually. We've got the blink, which is both eyes. And then we've got a happy blink. We've got all the expressions: angry, sorrow, wide-eyed. We've got blip over here. The different blinks here are because you can't actually use the other blinks from the basic expression. You get a bit of, problems like this right here. So these are the blinks that you want to use when you're using the angry and the sorrow and the wide eyes. They're all separated. We'll get back to this turn off real shadows. As for the face itself, we've got our standard A-I-E-U-A-O. Just going to do a couple of those. We've got a traditional smile. We've got an open mouth smile. We've got frown. You might see a little bit of a glitch there. That won't show up in rendering, but that's just because Eevee Viewport has a bit of an issue on first initialization of the blush, and the same thing with the depression toggle. It's just a first initialization issue. It's fine. It'll go away. Onto the turn off real shadows. So right now, all of the anime parts of her realistic shadows. So they'll react to any light you have in the scene. So right now I turned it to 3D cursor so I can rotate on the Z here and kind of show you how that works. Let me hide the other light so it's, yeah. So that's how her face shadows work right now. But let's say, you have a situation like, let's say like this, you don't really like how that's looking. So that's what this is for. You can actually turn, if you decide you don't want shadows at all, you can turn off the shadows and just keep her to have a painted on shadow here. And the only thing that the shadows will be affecting is the actual armor itself. Because I've seen a lot of VTuber models that like that rather than traditional shadows. The last thing on our list is the sword hand snapping toggles. So right now, if we go back to object mode for a moment and go into pose mode for the actual rig, you can grab this circular bone here and pull out the sword and move it however you want. But that's not really conducive to, easy animation, so I decided that I was going to add these toggles where if you turn it all the way up, it will snap to the corresponding hand. And from there, if you don't like the position, you can go into pose mode again and grab this rectangle here, and that's how you move the sword once it's snapped. Okay, from here I'd like to take a look at the bear keychain controller and how to get it into position the easiest possible way. So up here at the top, we want to change from 3D cursor to median point. Make sure it's always at medium point for this. So we want to go into pose mode, grab this bone right here that's in between the main loop. And then we can just hit R. And obviously, makes sense. So we can get the first loop into the position that we want it in, and then we can grab this particular loop, hit R to rotate it to wherever we want it on the chain. If it's clipping through it like this, you can always just, click G and then move it into place. Again, it's no problem. So as for controlling the chain, itself, we grab each of these bones right here, this one, that one, all of these circle bones, here, here, and here. I'm holding shift as I'm clicking them. And then we can hit R to, we need to change it over to individual origins. And then we can hit R to rotate the chain into whatever place we want to be in. So let's try there. And to control the other rotational direction, we want to grab these bones, these actual circles, the spheres. So I'm shift clicking all of these. And then I'm going to hit R to, again, rotate it into the position that I want it in. And that is the easiest method you're going to find to get the chain into the pose that you want. So now we're going to cover the rotation of the wrist and the rotation of the fingers in the easiest way possible. So first we're going to go over into pose mode. We're going to set this back to median point. And let me turn off X-ray for a moment. So you just want to make sure you're grabbing the box where the hand is. This is how you control the hand. So you can hit R and Y twice. The second time you hit Y, you are now rotating on the wrist's axis. So that's how you easily manipulate the wrist rotation. As for the fingers, we're going to need to turn on X-ray again. And these loops right here, these ones at the very top of the knuckles, I'm holding shift and I'm clicking on all of them. So to control them all at once, what you want to do is change this back down to individual origins. And then you hit S to scale. And instead of making them smaller, they will close the fingers. And from there, you can just hit R and then X twice, and there you have it. That is a closed hand. As for the thumb itself, the primary controller is this small one here. So this is how you control the rotation of the thumb itself. And then the closing of the thumb is this bigger loop in here. So you click on it, and then you hit scale. Just reset that real quick. So other things to note, the reason why you need to install 2 add-ons to make her function is because of advanced features that were incorporated into the add-on itself. So right here, you have this right here, this drop down properties. And then you can just click on, the hand itself, and then you can hit G, and you see how it doesn't stretch to that point. Well, this is your squash and stretch. So you turn on auto stretch, and now the arm will stretch to no matter where the hand bone is. Just turn that off. Get that back to normal. We've got the FK IK switch in here, so the controllers will separate in between current FK and then IK. And then we've got a special controller in here that if you decrease it, it'll make the arm shorter, and you increase it, it actually bends the elbow outward towards the elbow direction point, which is this controller right here that controls the direction of the elbow. While we're on the topic of the add-ons, they need to be installed so that you can access the features like FK, IK, and squash and stretch. So in order to do that, you just go on up over here to edit, and then down to preferences. And then under the add-ons, you just hit install, and you find wherever you place the add-on itself. So in this instance, I have a couple copies in here, like the proxy picker and the rig tools, these two things. One at a time, you click one, install, and then, let me find mine. You'll want to look it up inside this text box up here and click the check mark to enable. And it's that simple. You do that for both of them, and then you're ready to go. Of course, the legs also have IK, FK snapping, and squash and stretch and auto stretch. It's located on the box bone on the feet. So another topic I wanted to cover is proportional editing bones. So these are global bones for huge segments of bone chains. So this one here, if you just grab it with a left click and you click R, hold on, let me change this back to medium point, you're able to control the direction of all of the front hair segments. So there's one there. We've got one up here on the top of the head for the stray hair section. And each of the ponytails have their own individual controller for all of them. Can you control them individually? Yes, you can. So you just go ahead and go in here and you click the first bone you want to select. If you want to select the whole thing, you click the bone, you hit L, and you can just hit rotate from there. If you switch to individual origins, you get a better curve. So while we're on the topic of proportional editing bones, both capes have these box bones here, these ones here in the purple and these ones here in the yellow. They control, obviously, the proportion of the cape itself, making it a lot easier to get the poses and angles that you want for the capes without having to worry about messing with all of the detail bones themselves. Now, if you wanted to use the detail bones, they're there as well. So let me just go and select this here. And over here on the right side, we're going to turn off everything we don't actively need. So these ones are specifically located here at the very bottom. So we've got the butt cape top circle, which when you turn that on, you'll see the very top of the butt cape has its bones there. So I've separated them because it makes it a lot easier to, visibly see what you're working with and not having to worry about what's competing with each other for click space. Because if you turn both of these on at the same time at certain angles, you can't really tell what you're clicking on. So let me turn these ones off. And let's go down to this one here. So that looks like the fourth circle. Yep. So from here, I'm going to grab this let's grab this one. Grab this proportional bone and move it out. And let's say I, wanted to add a little bit of wrinkle effect in there. Well, now I can grab these bones in here, and I can do that. I can go ahead and individually edit every one of those bones to give me the kind of wrinkle effect that I'm looking for. As for controlling large segments of the cape at once, we have these central bones here. So you would grab like the central circle. Let me turn that off so it's easier to see. And you could just rotate them. You can pull them out. This is where you would get your main deformations from. So if you tried to, change how the cape, looks or animates, the first thing you would grab is this, and then you'd grab your proportional bones in here. And then you change that, and then from here, I believe that's circle 3. Yep, from here you can grab, the individual ones, and you can get the exact look you're looking for. And with that, I do believe that's a vast majority of all her functions and features. So if I, happen to not cover something as an in-depth detail as you wanted me to, then go ahead and let me know, and if there's anything you'd like to have added to her or changed about her, then go ahead and hit me up on Twitter. I'm more than friendly enough to take some constructive criticism. But other than that, thank you for stopping by, and thank you for your interest in messing with this model. And if you make anything with her, please go ahead and send it to me. I'd love to see your work. And with that, this is Koban signing off.